Hey, it's Dana LaRae. Today we're going to be talking about something that's very pivotal for me right now. Patience. Patience, my dear. I find myself trying to figure out the end goal constantly with everything in my life right now. I'm going to open my phone. I'm going to tell you a bit of a quote that I just read. Pause, unclench your jaw, soften your forehead, drop your shoulders, take a deep breath. For a lot of you that don't know, I practice yoga constantly. It's been for a couple years now. It really manages my levels of what I think are hyperness in my body. I don't know if I want to claim it as anxiety. I don't know, mismanage emotion, but every time I go in a yoga class, I'm reminded to be in that moment and to be still and to be present. It seems as though I have an extreme amount of patience when it comes to other people. I mean, the amount of patience that I have when it comes to others is unmatched. I seriously can just relax into anybody's voice, anybody's issues, anything anyone needs. I can be so patient with them. And I think that's why I'm so good at my line of work as an organizer. And it's kind of essentially a life coach. I'm always able to stop, be present with the person and really listen to every single thing they have to say or every single thing that they need. However, when it comes to my own personal journey, I find myself being overwhelmed with wanting to figure out what's what. And I feel like over the years, I've become more and more comfortable with who I am. So as my journey is unfolding, I'm becoming more and more comfortable with what's coming my way. 4 years ago, I would have never, ever thought I would be in the position I'm in today. Being in LA, being successful with 2 businesses, now finding a new role as an executive assistant to a very influential individual. I think all of these things came through me being patient with getting my degrees and finishing school and taking it step by step and doing all these different things to get to where I'm ultimately at now. Even with YouTube, when I sit and think about it, I picked up YouTube so many times and then I stopped and I'm like, no, I always had this vision in my mind of how it was gonna go. And I actually got somewhat close to it now. Like I used to record on my phone and just talking to the camera. Then I was like, that's not really what I want to portray though. That's not who I'm trying to be. That's not my long-term goal. I've always wanted to have like a studio setting. I've always wanted to speak and orientate to a larger audience. I wanted it to be intimate as far as my honesty, but not intimate as far as my reach. And I feel like every time I sit back and I'm patient with the unfolding, everything comes into place better than I ever expected. There's a part of my life that still causes me a bit of anxiety, and I don't know why I have so much control in the area. And I think that's with me trying to accept the male energy that enters my life. I'm in a great place right now. As a Virgo woman, I feel like things are really on the rise spiritually. I feel energetically there. I feel connected to the source, but sometimes I sit back in myself and I have a little bit of like nerves as it pertains to what I attract. They always say it's not what you attract, it's what you entertain. And I completely believe that sentiment because we all have a choice, right? When something comes up to us. I was speaking with a good male friend of mine not too long ago, and we were on the phone. And he was telling me, like, as a woman, as a beautiful woman, he's so kind. He was like, it's so easy for you. Like, you just get to wake up, go outside, and you get flooded with offers, or you get flooded with DMs. And it's this ongoing joke when me and him get on the phone. He's just, how them DMs looking? I'm like, they're looking. I had to go back and forth with him. I'm like, just because you get attention doesn't necessarily mean that you want who's giving you the attention. In a prior video, I talked about resistance. So I am trying to watch my resistance level to things because I have a very cutthroat approach to what I want around me, but then I realized that's not gonna serve me because I don't always know something well enough to know if it's gonna aid me or not. When me and him get on the phone and he's just saying like, you know, as women, you all just have to just go outside and you get flooded with opportunities. As men, we have to literally go get them. I'm thinking to myself like, that doesn't necessarily mean that the things that are coming your way are things that you're inviting. He's just like, at the end of the day, that's an easier position to be in. Granted, that's some truth to what he's saying. It is a little bit easier to be in a position where you're receiving, right? I think the universe is toying with me right now as far as my patience, because the space that I'm in, I'm like, okay, universe, let's not play no games. Nice and grown, nice and independent, on my grind, doing my thing, taking care of myself now. You send me some options that are gonna make sense. Because when I was younger and I dated in my 20s, it was more so feeling out who I was through my bonds. Now that I just entered my 30s, I'm like, okay, so I've graduated. So therefore, I should be attracting things that are what I've become, right? Sometimes I look in those DMs and I'm like, now, hold on, let me get my phone so I can really act this out. What is this about? Like, it could be pretty far-fetched. Like, it could be some things where I'm like, now I know I'm not giving this off. Now I know we don't got nothing in common. Now I know you tripping. And sometimes I go in my DMs like, Like recently, I had somebody I think he's interested, obviously, and he wants to take me out. The scary thing about it, I had a real look at who I was through a lens of him because A, he's a Virgo. B, he's he's very athletic. He takes care of his body. You know, I prioritize yoga, fitness. He spiritually is one of those very positive people like me. Like anybody that's on my page is going to get some old ancient wisdom, like an African proverb or like, I don't know, like a monk statement, like where it's going to say like, peace be with you, or just like all things in time. He has all that over his page too. And I'm also looking like, okay, the crazy thing is he's a risk taker. I am a risk taker, baby. Like I do whatever comes to my mind when it comes to my mind. And he's really into like doing risky things like driving motorcycles and jumping out of planes. I'm like, okay. And then we have a tattoo in the same exact spot, right? We both have the same tattoo on our shoulder. And I'm like, okay, this is getting weird. You know, on my page as a model, I'd love to put a big cute outfit on for y'all and look nice, right? On his page, he's modeling clothes as well. Gets weirder. He tells me he's about to drop a clothing line, and I'm like, but I'm interested in dropping a underwear line. So it's too many things that we have in common, and I'm starting to be like, is the universe playing games with me? Like, and you know what's so funny? He's so symmetrical to me, like in what he presents. Now, I don't know how he is in person until we actually go out with each other. Just how he presents himself online with how positive he is, how much he's into fitness, how he's an entrepreneur, is also a model and tries on clothing. And I'm like, what is this? Like me and my friend were on the phone all night like, girl, what? Like, because women, we do this. We're going to share with our best friend the options that we have and get their opinions. And she's just like, why do y'all have so much in common? I'm like, yeah, why do we have so much in common? And he seems, for the most part, to be a very natural, down-to-earth type of guy. Like, he has the whole, you know, the locks, and it seems like he really takes care of himself. And I'm just looking like, okay, now, what's funny is I want to find something wrong with this. Like, in my head, I'm just like, what's with this guy? Every time I try to come for something, I'm like, but he kind of exudes what you exude. So this must be how men look at you when they look online. Like they must look like, oh, okay, she's like spiritual, she's into fitness, she likes fashion, she's an entrepreneur, she's a risk taker. I'm looking at him like, I really can't technically hate on you because then I would be hating on what I give out. Now, who he is in person and who he is online is two different things, right? I don't know. I could meet up with him and be like, no, he's actually a psycho and he was just putting on a front. But I don't feel that way. I guess this all comes into me being patient enough to actually meet him, get to know him, and not judge him based off what's online. Me realizing that he tries on clothes, and I used to like be heavy on like getting on camera, trying on clothes, or even when I like lotion up with my shea butters in front of the camera, I had to really take a moment. And when he did it, I'm like, oh, is this how I didn't feel, it was a neutral feeling about it. I didn't feel weirded out by it, but I also didn't feel thrilled about it. And I'm like, I wonder if this is how men perceive me when they go to my page and I am being who I am on my page and I'm comfortable in my skin. It was a very humbling moment for me to be like, wow, okay. Now you have to you're receiving what you dish out into the world. So I'm trying to be patient and let those types of things unfold. But for some reason, I feel like in every other aspect of my life, I can let go and just let it happen. And whatever happens, happens. But it's like when it comes to love, I'm so like maybe it's because my past experiences, they were all great. I learned great things from them. I feel like when you really want something, you have to let it go. And I'm thinking to myself, like, if you really want to be in a space where you're at peace with what comes your way as far as relationships and potentially marriage, I have to get out of my own head and become patient the way I am in every other aspect of my life. I just don't know why it's a little bit harder in this space. I don't know how everybody else is navigating this, but I will say this. One of my male friends did tell me, as you get closer to what you want, like maybe it's the timing of my life where I'm in my early 30s and I can see with like a clear eye view exactly what I would like in a partner and what I would like to exchange with that partner. Maybe that energy and that momentum is making me think about trying to make sure it goes exactly as it's supposed to go. The more I sit on it, there is no way to perfect a partner. There's no way to perfect a bond. Let's say me and this guy got together that I just described to you all, right? We seem like we got everything in common. But I even thought to myself, like, that could be an issue. Like, if we have all of this in common, as crazy as it sounds, that's not necessarily what I saw for myself when I saw my forever partner. I definitely didn't envision somebody that's so much like me. I actually would prefer, in my head, somebody that had a lot of things that were different, because I feel like then there will be a polarity between the two of us because he has these aspects, I have these aspects. But I don't know. We could still have a lot of differences even though we do the same things in life, it seems like, and we have the same frequency. Do you see what I'm saying about how important it is to be patient? Because at this point, now I'm just running in circles. I'm just talking. Like, well, it has to go this way, could go this way. If I just relaxed into the moment and unclench my jaws, relax my forehead, drop my shoulders, and breathe like that quote I read earlier to you all, I could be able to receive and be able to make a decision on what I'm receiving in order to serve my higher good. But child, when I tell you, when everything else is working in your favor and everything else feels like it's going right, it's so hard to leave that one thing up to fate. But I'm gonna have to do it anyway because that's where I'm at in my life. Don't know where everybody else is in their patience journey. Don't know what avenues of life they need to be more patient in. But when I tell you all, Dana LeRae is going to sit in her knowing. She's going to sit in her self-love, and she's going to sit in her patience, because this era more than ever in my life is calling for it. So I hope that helps somebody. I hope you know that I'm being patient with you. You're not the only one out here like, this could go terribly wrong, but still gotta go through the motions. That's life, baby. My mentor, I'm gonna call her my mentor. She told me something very monumental. She told me two monumental things. The first thing was, you really gotta go after what you want in this life. That didn't necessarily help me with patience, but it helped me to understand that when it's time to strike, it's time to strike, patient or not. The second thing she told me is, there's always gonna be ups and downs in life. There's always going to be moments where you feel like you got to figure out, and there's going to be moments where you don't know where the hell you're going. She said what's important is how you navigate the lows, because it's going to come back up. But if you get too low in that low, it can completely throw your mindset off for how fast you get back to the high. And I'm glad she said that, because it helped me to balance out where I was in my mind at that moment. And if I just acted on my patience, I knew everything would come back and flow into space. So glad you all sat with me through this, because as you can see, I needed to let this out of my body. I love you all. I'll see you next episode. Peace.